All right, it's the secretary's favorite part of the program, the OTR Pop Quiz. All right, you know we like to test you on state symbols, official ones.
Thanks.
So let's start there. Who does Massachusetts recognize as its official artist? Is the answer A, John Singleton Copley, B, Norman Rockwell, or C, Winslow Homer?
I believe it's A.
The answer is B, Norman Rockwell. He was born in New York City, but of course he made Stockbridge in the Berkshires his home. All right, the next one's true or false. The official state musical instrument is the penny whistle. Is that true or false?
False.
It is false. The state does not have an official musical instrument. All right, question 3. It's been a long time since a Republican held the Secretary of the Commonwealth's office. How far back was it? When did the last Republican term begin? Was it A, 1921, B, 1931, or C, 1941?
When you say the person who held it.
When did the term begin?
Yes, 21.
That's correct.
Oh
it began in
know
1921. All right, finally, question 4. You're the sage of Brighton. Born and raised, but we're going to try to trip you up with a new Brighton question. Of course, it's a hot area. The revitalized and reimagined Speedway area in Brighton is now a thriving marketplace. It's also an outpost for a Massachusetts brewery best known for its session beers. What brewery is that at the Brighton Speedway? Is it Night Shift, Harpoon, or Notch?
Notch.
That is correct.
He
3 out of
knows
4.
his neighborhood. He does
Very
know his
good.
neighborhood.
Well
okay,
done.
the only thing that we managed to trip you up on was the
Norman Rockwell.
no, yeah, was the artist. We'll have to brush up on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, back to politics. You've got over $3 million in your war
That's not
chest.
true. I was flattered when you said that last week. I didn't have 3. I certainly have a lot less than that now.
Well, only because you've been spending it.
That's correct.
Which goes to the point that I was going to make. You've just launched a major TV campaign where you're finally spending a lot of that money. Can you win this race for the 8th time with the sheer power of the dollar?
It's not the sheer power of the dollar. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not spending as much as some of the other candidates for statewide office this year, obviously. No, I'm trying to win, and I'm trying to win for a reason, because I think elections are so important. I'm especially concerned about 2024. I'm trying to win because I believe my expertise is unique. I believe that I can help our state and our country. And I want to continue doing that because of the threat I see elections are under.
Well, part of your opponent's, her kind of main thrust is that she believes that 27 years in this office is enough. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think that in ordinary times that might be true. But I think what's extraordinary is elections are under threat. You have people who sincerely believe that the elections are rigged and sincerely believe that, you know, they have to attack a local clerk, and I have a problem with that. And if you're going to challenge the people who falsely say elections are fraudulent or rigged, you have to know, with the experience that I have, about how elections are run, and I do. And I want to use that to preserve our democracy here in Massachusetts, to expand it as we go into 22 and 24. And I think that's very important.
All right, not directly under your purview, of course, is the T, but we ask pretty much anybody with any connection to state government that comes in here about it, because you don't live far from the Green Line.
Right.
The governor's been in office now 8 years. He's spent billions of dollars, and this is very much still a system in crisis. How's the governor doing, and how does it get fixed?
Well, I think it's a complex system. Bureaucracies are very, very difficult to manage, I know. And, you know, I think it's very challenging. He's trying. I mean, I don't think anyone, it's ironic, when I first spoke to the governor after his election, he asked me if I had any advice, and I thought it was just one of those throwaway questions. But I had just been involved with Frank DiPaolo, who had been the acting Secretary of Transportation. Right. And I turned and I said, you know, I do. I said, transportation, you couldn't do worse than keep DiPaolo on. You could do worse. And I said, and he laughed. He said, oh, transportation, yeah. Well, that next winter, the first winter of his incumbency, was incredible. So, I mean, I think he knows the seriousness of it. I think he's attempting to do what he can about it. Sure, as somebody who runs bureaucracies, hey, he's the guy who's responsible, just like I am. So at the end of the day, you got to hold him responsible, just like you have to hold me responsible. But I think the real issue is, what can we do to fix it? I am concerned about the T shutdown. In fact, my office has asked the T for specific plans for Election Day. I'm concerned about voters who might take the T to vote.
Should the system be free during the shutdown?
Well, I certainly think
the entire system, I mean.
Well, the entire system, that's not a decision for me to make. Surely the parts that are going to be causing people to be discomforted, sure. I mean, the money is coming from the federal government, and it's because of the fact that they have to do this. So I don't think they should be paying for what is substitute service.
All right, our thanks once again to Secretary of the Commonwealth Bill Galvin, up for re-election this fall.